Hello, Family 110. It's Sister Anderson here. I just wanted to check in and say happy 5 weeks of this class. We are totally shifting to the end, and I know it's like, wait, didn't we just start? That's how I always feel when we get to week 5, that week 6 is the live class. Please send me your questions. And then week 7 is half of a week because all of your assignments are due on Wednesday. So we really are getting down to the wire. And so I just wanted to make sure that you got everything that you could get out of your conflict conversation paper, including all the points. So these rubrics are really and truthfully like your way to make sure that you get as many points as possible on this paper. So the format, you need headings. For every formal paper that you submit to this course, there will be a place that we're going to grade you for headings. We meaning me and all the other instructors who teach this course. 1-inch margins, 12-point font, Times New Roman, double space. That's same across the board. And then 1.5 pages in length. Notice here we've got briefly describe the conflict or disagreement. Sometimes this conflict conversation paper turns into a couple of pages of students just kind of laying out, this is the conflict that I've been having for a really long time. And then there might be a brief thing about what we tried to do to solve the conflict, and the paper ends. And so that will miss, quite the moment for you. This right here, the content and quality of the steps taken to resolve the conflicts, this is where you are supposed to be taking things that you've learned from this course and trying to apply it to resolve the conflict. Now, I gave some instructions in the announcement about how to do this, but I wanted to go back up to this list where you are told how to write this paper. I just want you to know that you may choose 2 principles from this course that don't just come from this list. I think every single week we have had information that can help you resolve conflict more effectively in relationship. So for example, in the first week, we talked about marriage myths. If you want to bring into a marriage myth that I've really struggled with, that I've realized has caused conflict in my relationship, is the myth that marriage should fulfill all of my needs. So when I started to have this conversation with my spouse about this, I read that section with my spouse, and we talked about how neither one of us have really lived up to what's true of this, which is that we can find places outside of our relationship to help us meet these needs. So that's one example of how you could use something from this course that isn't from this list that you could use, and that I would accept that for your paper. So we're looking for 2 specific ways that you are learning how to resolve conflict in a better way based on what you learned from this class. Some of you are great communicators, great conflict resolvers. This is not a problem for you, but if you choose to just tell about all the ways you already know how to solve conflict, this is the whole thing of like, don't use an old conversation, you'll lose 50 points, yada yada. It's because we're trying to do this like, currently in my life, what is causing distress and how am I using the principles of Marriage Skills Family 110 to resolve this? So week 2, I mean, you could really go through any week. Week 2, deep and unmet needs. We brought the bullseye back in. We realized that this bad behavior that either one of us is exhibiting is actually because neither of us feel, whatever. That would also count. I love the speaker listener technique, and I hope that you use it. If you just choose to say, we use the speaker listener technique, we talked back and forth without interrupting each other, I will dock you for that, because that is not the speaker listener technique. If you say, we use the speaker listener technique and chose not to use a floor because it distracts us, but we did paraphrase, etc. Give me the reasonings behind why you did or didn't use the full technique. That will get you the points. But if you just throw it in there and we used a soft startup without giving the example of what you did or what you would have done if you hadn't done what you did, that will also lose points. Does it make sense? If you have any questions, let me know. I hope you all are having a great week, and I'm looking forward to learning from you in the discussion board. If you haven't received feedback from me on your speaker listener technique questions, you will be getting that forthcoming. And send me your questions for the live class next week if you haven't done so. Thanks.